Have UFOs crashed on Earth? Have we made alien contact? Is the US government covering up a massive UFO conspiracy? Behind me is one of the most secret military bases in the world, deep in the heart of the Nevada desert. The Groom Lake test site, also known as Area 51 or Dreamland, has been home to US stealth projects since the Second World War. However, in recent years, a more disturbing story has emerged, and that is that the government is back engineering recovered alien spacecraft. Tonight, based on evidence given to us by top military personnel, engineers and scientists, we can exclusively reveal the UFO technology that's being developed behind me. It's a story the US government has tried to cover up for half a century, the truth behind Dreamland.
I am convinced, based on my research and the individuals whom I've had contact in the U.S. intelligence community, that the U.S. government does indeed have craft that meet the description of many of the UFO reports.
The whole aim of the project was to take these craft, or the one in particular that I was working on, and try and duplicate its systems and subsystems with earthly materials.
I'm convinced beyond doubt that we have recovered aircraft, alien vehicles, that we have made contact with aliens, that we are communicating with them in some way or form, and that we have vehicles and bodies in preservation.
I was at that moment standing on the deck of the radar van. It was nighttime, and I was looking up in the sky because there were saucers up there.
Were there any alien bodies recovered?
No bodies. There were 4 live, feeling good guys.
4 live extraterrestrials?
4 live, feeling good extraterrestrial type individuals, yes.
They are here, whoever they are, wherever they came from, whatever they're doing. Other intelligences are messing around on our planet.
I think that too many people's butts are on the line with this, that they lied to us too long, that a lot of people have stolen legitimate national security money to keep this cover-up going, that they have perpetuated disinformation schemes on the American public, probably on the British public.
The Air Force knows that there was a crash saucer, there were alien bodies recovered, that there have been aircraft that have gone up to chase UFOs and have not come back. They know that we're dealing with the biggest story of the millennium.
Set on a remote dry lake bed 80 miles outside Las Vegas, Area 51 is just one part of the massive Nellis Air Force Base, which is roughly the same size as Switzerland. It was commissioned by President Truman in the 1950s as a top-secret location to develop and test America's new generation of post-war aircraft. In the technology fever of the 1950s, the base soon became home to the most exotic flying craft of its day. More recently, it is where the F-117 stealth aircraft was developed and test flown.
This is an area that has been known but officially denied for many decades. We go back quite a ways into the 40s and 50s with the development of the U-2 spy plane, the SR-71. All of our super secret aircraft have been developed and test flown out in this particular area.
The A-12 from its inception through its retirement was operated out of only 2 locations. Area 51 at Groom Lake was its original home. The first aircraft was delivered there in January of 62, and the last airplane left on June 21st, 1968.
The US Air Force denies that Area 51 exists, despite footage of the base and Russian satellite photos that we have obtained, which clearly show hangars and a huge runway stretching across the lake bed. In the face of constant denials of its existence, the base has expanded since the 50s, with several passenger jets now landing every day, carrying hundreds of workers to the base. With this level of personnel, the few buildings that can be observed above the ground are merely the cover for a large underground facility. Security at the base is unprecedented and secrecy is paramount. Since the late 50s, the military has sequestered hundreds of thousands of acres of land that adjoin the base. The exclusion zone around Area 51 now stretches to 26 miles.
The secret status of the base is very, very well preserved. And even if people are talking about the operation of the U-2s back in the 1950s, 40 years ago, they're still not allowed to identify the base by name or by location. All they can say is it is a remote facility.
This place is an old anachronism from the Cold War. This is a place that harkens back to the old days, and because the military is continuing to treat it as a top secret facility that doesn't exist, it attracts attention. Naturally, everyone wants to know what goes on here.
There is no question that the facility is there, that the government has said very little in the past about it, that it has the right to test things like the U-2, like the SR-71, like the stealth aircraft. People forget the stealth aircraft, over $10 million spent on developing it, and more than a decade before its existence was even announced. That's what you do out at Groom Lake. Now, the real question, I suppose, is, are there any flying saucers out there?
We took to the skies to see the base for ourselves. Flying at an altitude of 10,000 feet, we edged to within 1 mile of the restricted zone. Having made contact with the tower, we soon found out how seriously Area 51 guards its airspace.
69 from you, remain on the 4375 code, I'll probably pick you back up in a few miles.
We're just curious, is there any activity today out at the Groom Lake area?
Any activity where, sir?
Out at the Groom Lake area.
Lake Mead 69, I don't have any of that information available. Dude, L control on guard. When working Reveille Mola squawk altitude, acknowledge with an IDID.
The Nellis approach controller now is just getting a little concerned that we're getting close now.
We've just been buzzed by 2 F-16 fighters. They passed our bow at about 800 to 1,000 miles an hour. These guys aren't messing around. They don't want us to be here. In fact, there's another one just gone by the bow there. They're either trying to get us out of the area quickly or force us to land. And there goes another one.
Well, that was really close, right off the right side. I'd say that was within a mile, mile and a half. Well, you can see him, boy, that was amazing. And they have TCAS on board, so they definitely had radar contact with us. That